Hi, everyone. I'm Colleen with Home Watch Caregivers, and today we have a special guest. It's my friend Arlene.
Hi, everyone.
So, Arlene and I go back about 8 years,
Right.
and I had the privilege of helping with her husband who had dementia. So, she has volunteered graciously to talk to us a little bit about her experience, things she wished she would have done earlier, things to help other caregivers out there.
Right.
And so we're just going to have a conversation and we'll go ahead and begin right now.
Okay.
So, Arlene, tell me his name and what you love most about him.
Well, his name was Jim. And I guess what I loved most about him was he really wanted a good family life. He was very careful of that. He wanted everything to be okay. He wanted our children to grow up and be good people. He had a bad family life and he did not want that again. So, and he was very good in contributing to that.
Oh, nice. So, a little bit when we talked together. So, Jim had a rough upbringing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he did. And he was the oldest. Is that
Yes.
right? Of how many?
7 children.
The oldest
So
of
7.
children.
Yes.
So, did he have to play that father figure early?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. His father was an alcoholic. So money, of course, was a terrible situation. And being the oldest and a boy, and then he had 4 sisters were part of it. I think he just had a lot of responsibility early for his age. Yeah.
Okay, and so how did he feel about marriage? Was he all for it, or did it take him some time?
It took him some time. Well, 4 years it took me to get him. He really, when we started dating, when we were both, I was 21, he was, 22 or 3. He really didn't know whether he wanted to get married. He still did not think that he did. And so, I mean, we dated for quite a while. And then finally I thought, well, I do want to get married. So I think I better clear this situation up. So I did say something to him and I said, if you don't, that, I understand that, but I do. So
it sounds like a little bit, you kind of were able to show him that there's another side to marriage.
Right.
I feel like
right.
you were a very safe space for him.
I think eventually he felt that way. And I think because I came from just a regular family of what he thought would be good, and so I think that helped too.
So your example was enough to break through that wall.
I guess so.
Decided,
Yes.
Yeah. You guys are the perfect couple for each other.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So we are going to kind of start at the beginning and kind of go through everything. So when you think back to that beginning, what did you start to notice that was a little different?
Well, I think back then, because Alzheimer's was like a big thing, and so I started noticing forgetting things that he normally would have remembered. And even withdrawing, he was not real social. He wasn't out all the time, but then he even wanted to go less and did not kind of like to be around big groups of people, which that never ever seemed to bother him. So it just was real gradual, but each one of the little signs were the things listed under when they were starting with that. So, and he was always great with directions. And a couple of times driving, we got not exactly lost, but he was confused. And I knew that was not him.
So that was one sign.
One sign, yes.
Was there another sign maybe with something about the checkbook?
Oh, that was when it hit me. He always took care of the checkbook and did everything. So one day I must have went in to write a check and there were all of these checks written out for just like a couple of dollars here and still I didn't even know what most of them were for. And I thought, oh my gosh, I really didn't even connect it right away. And then when I showed the checkbook to him, I said, what is going on? Because he was always very particular about that. And then he sort of, I don't want to say confessed, but it was almost like he was relieved to finally say, I know, I don't know, I can't do it anymore. And so that was when I think we both realized, and he realized that something really was wrong. And
so that was a big aha. For you
yes,
guys. Yeah.
yes, definitely.
So when you kind of got in the checkbook, it was like, wait, there's a lot of little checks to all these charities.
And
Which
stuff,
you guys
yeah.
are charitable,
but not that many.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
I really thought, oh, I have to
Every
give to
single
these
thing that came.
charities. So
They
like
all-
you said, it was like sort of like a relief. Oh, you mean I don't have to do
that,
this?
yes, yes, yes.
Nice. So we're gonna. So that early part after you got that diagnosis, did you tell everybody or did you keep it?
No,
secret?
no, of
Okay.
course we didn't tell anybody because he was still fairly, I thought he was doing okay that people didn't know.
Yeah.
But then as it got on, there were more incidents when it was very awkward. And I know then they were starting to put pieces together, especially our good friends that we would go out with. But then I finally just had to tell him because it was getting awkward and they were wondering why he was saying things and would always want to leave as soon as we got someplace or, you know,
So
something
Jim
like
was a
that.
very up and down
Yeah,
person.
right,
He was
right.
always working.
Doing
He was
something.
always on the move, right?
Right, right.
So once you were able to tell them, how did that feel for you?
Well, it was much better. It was much better to,
Was it a relief?
it was a relief, especially to your close personal friends. Now, it's harder for sort of people that you just kind of know and stuff like that. But for the ones that I dealt with, it was so much easier than, and I think they were beginning to wonder and didn't want to say something.
Yeah.
So they even were, you know, more relieved.
So
Yeah.
it sounds like we didn't really want to tell anyone because there is that you want to protect him.
Him.
Yeah, you want to protect him.
Yes.
But they were kind of picking up on it.
Absolutely.
And then once you actually did tell everyone, you just felt really
Yes.
like
A big
do you
relief.
wish you would have done it a little sooner or
Well, maybe a little sooner because I do think after if you're out with a couple of couples 2 or 3 times and these kind of different things happen that were never like that before, they're already trying to get the idea. And I think they didn't want to bring it up. And
Yeah.
so I think they were relieved.
no.
Yeah.
So so you finally got a diagnosis, you finally opened up and told some of your friends. Did you have anyone else in your circle that was had some form of dementia?
I did. As a matter of fact, one of my best friends, she was having it. And so a couple of times her and her husband and Jim and I went out and it became more apparent that they both had a problem. And so then I talked to her husband one time and she was doing a lot of the same things at home that Jim was doing. So then we did realize that they were both about in the same just beginning parts, but they were doing some of the same things.
So was that helpful to
Well,
know
it was
that came
helpful,
early?
yes. And then you did kind of had somebody you could go out with that he
Yeah.
didn't think, oh, this is weird, or, you know, so we did, you know, maybe you could go out to like a little place to get something to eat or something, and you didn't have to worry about somebody thinking it was weird.
So that was very powerful. for you to have
Yes.
someone to lean on, and it was your best friend, and you guys were couples friends. so
Right,
that was a good
right.
thing.
That helped.
Good, good.
Yes.
So that was awesome that you had people to lean on.
Yes.
A lot of people
Yeah.
don't have that.
Yes.
So let's go as he progressed in his diagnosis. Tell me a little bit about, because you said he was a very good driver and he did that. He was a salesman, so he drove everywhere. Very good with directions. So tell me a little bit how that went when you guys started discussing him not driving.
Well, I noticed, as I think I said before, he was driving, but I don't want to say I wasn't ever scared or like a wreck. He was still a very careful driver, but was getting lost or going a different way we had never gone before, like turned down a road that we had never gone before. So I said something to him about, oh, you know, do you think maybe I ought to start driving now? And he said yes, he agreed. And so that then made me know that he also realized that it was getting, he didn't admit it and come right out, but I think he was getting frustrated. And so I said, well, especially if we were going pretty far or have to make several different turns, he seemed to be more relieved. if we
So it was
did
another
that
point of relief for him.
for him. Right.
So when, this is just for our audience, but when you get a diagnosis of dementia, 50% people know they have dementia and about 50% don't have any idea. It sounds like Jim was one of the 50%.
Something was wrong. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so with him driving, did you talk to the doctor at all about that?
Well, I didn't really. I mean, I was letting him drive, but then when the doctor said, "Oh, does he still drive?" And I said, "Well, yeah, he seems to be good."
Yeah.
And the doctor said, "Oh, would you let him drive your grandchildren?" And I said, "Oh, well, no."
Yeah.
And then I remember the doctor saying, "Well, my grandchildren are out there in a car. I'm not real happy that you're letting your husband drive," which made me feel really bad and realized I was looking at it from a total selfish, and really after that, I did not let him drive anymore.
It's beautiful.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, it made me stop and think,
Because
absolutely.
I would think about that either. We
Yeah.
think about the safety of him, the safety of you and that little small community, but that was powerful.
Yeah.
Wow, thanks for sharing that. Okay, so now we're going to kind of get it into looking back at when you decided to bring help in. So tell me a little bit about
Yeah,
that.
well, he had gotten to the point then where I really was afraid to, I'm sorry, leave him alone.
Oh,
That maybe, if I just ran to the store, I wasn't really sure he could remember that I said, "I'm going to the
Okay.
store." And maybe all of a sudden he would think, "She's not here. I wonder where she is." So, so the one thing that I did, I still belong to a choir, church choir on Monday night. And so that was the first time that I really started thinking did not feel comfortable leaving him in the evening. Because then towards the winter, of course, it was getting dark. I was
Yeah.
gone from 7 to 9. So that was the first time I did call and to see if I could get someone to sit with him so that I could go to choir and not worry.
So you had
etc.
someone come in
Yeah.
during choir.
Yes.
Was it us at first?
No, as a matter of fact, it was. You can hear that. Sorry to say. But as it turned out, the very first one wasn't so good. Should I say my story?
You can say your story.
Okay, so the first night that I left him with someone that I picked, when I came home from choir, which is like 9:30 and it was dark, he was out on the porch by himself. Our porch has steps and no railing. And the man that was taking care of him was in watching television. So that was a huge, because just having to get someone in and then thinking, "Oh, this is not going to work. This is going to be hard." Yeah.
So that was a hard
It was
realization
a
right
down.
there.
Yes.
So
Yes.
just because the first one doesn't work out doesn't mean you should stop trying. Is
Right.
that what you figured out?
Right. Yes. Yes.
So then you kind of called us.
Yes. Yes.
And you'd have us in there you only needed us for choir, didn't need us any other time.
Right.
And then I guess, what, did your kids start talking to you a little more?
Yeah, that, one thing led to another, then you really couldn't even like to go to the store. Well, I took him for a while to the store with me, but then it got to be more of a problem. And I don't know, there's just a lot of different things that you would have to go to. That then I thought, well, I ought to get somebody in a couple of days a week and I could go to the store.
So you
and I could.
And we're open to
Yeah,
that, or was it your kids?
Well, the kids kept saying you ought to, but I was finally open to it when I knew that I couldn't really get to even to the store. And I tried taking him, but he never ever did like to go to the store, and he did not change. He still didn't like it. And then you couldn't really leave him at the cart and go, because then he would wander off too. So
He was a very busy man.
Right.
He was a great worker, and I remember him always working.
Always doing something.
Always up and down and working, and so he always had somewhere to go. Didn't
Right.
always know where, but that's
right.
okay.
Right.
So as your kids kind of convinced you that you needed a little more care, as you look back at that time, do you wish you may have done that a little sooner.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I do. I do.
And once you found the right company, was it a positive experience?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It changes the whole world. And I would have to say, maybe even more for Jim. He was really, because he's, well, it's
Okay.
people. Okay.
Let's stop there for just a second.
Okay.
So you said something very powerful, and I want to kind of step back on that. So when you thought of getting a company in,
Mhm.
what did you think caregiving was going to entail?
I had no idea at the time. I just thought I only needed, well, but at the time, I guess for that night I was going out to choir, but then I did realize it would be easy, maybe if somebody was there for just a couple of hours for me to go to the store. So that was really all I expected, someone just to come and make sure he didn't go out.
So you were more of just keep him safe,
Safe.
and a companion babysitter,
Right,
sort of thing.
exactly.
You had no
Exactly.
expectations beyond that.
No, no,
Okay.
no.
And tell me what you experienced when we came in, what we did with Jim.
Changed the world, changed my world, changed his world, because you all came in. And I can't remember what the first thing was that you said. Well, I don't know, something like we're going to take him to a baseball game, your nephew or something. Oh, I said he won't sit because I had tried that because I like baseball, and he wouldn't sit. He kept getting up. So you came back when you said he sat, and I said, oh, okay. Then something else one day, you and I said, oh well, that's not going to work. He hates to shop or walk around the store or anything like that. Of course, you took him and he walked around the store and everything was fine.
Well, we kind of did that together, though, right?
Well, I did go with you.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, you're right at the beginning.
And
I
did you
did.
find it was easier to have somebody
Oh my
out there?
gosh. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yes, yes.
Because what was my job? To just
be right
concentrate
with
on
him.
right?
Yes,
And you got
yes.
to get done, but also be with him, right?
Right, right.
Okay.
Yes, that worked out perfect. That worked out perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we
Yeah.
take him everywhere.
Yeah.
We really
Right,
did
Then take him everywhere. Right. And then he just enjoyed it so much being out. And then I started to enjoy it because before that, I was all, what if he has to go to the bathroom? What are we going to do now? This, that, and the other thing, that it made a world of difference, for me as much as him, I think.
Oh, I love that. So let's talk about that bathroom. Let's talk about the bathroom situation. Because a lot of people out there, taking them out or to the bathroom is a big deal.
It's a big deal. It is a big deal. And
the first time you experienced.
Well, the first time I can remember, we took him on a picnic, and weren't any bathrooms very close. And then we found one, and it was a ladies. And then I thought, well, I shouldn't take him in there. In hindsight, I really do. I mean, there was nobody in this park. I'm sure nobody would have come in that bathroom. And also when you go into a ladies' bathroom, you're in a stall. You're not seeing anything. It wouldn't be. But anyway,
at that moment, you weren't thinking
yes.
You're like,
and
oh
then
my God, he's got to go to the bathroom.
And then I thought that I can remember coming home and thinking, well, I guess we'll never go out anywhere because I can't go into the men's John, and I would be afraid to maybe take him into it. And that was a big stumbling block for a while.
So when we came in and we kind of sat down and talked about that bathroom.
Yes. Yeah.
And what did we find out? Like, oh, wait. If bringing him into a woman's bathroom, like you said, it's all stalls.
Yeah. They're not going to, like that. Right.
Is it hurting us?
No. And I think really, had I taken him into a women's bathroom, he wouldn't have known. He would have never said, oh, I don't. He would have just went in one of the stalls. Yeah. Yeah.
And you think people that were in there, if there were people in there, do you think they would have been accepting of it?
Well, I kind of think if he just went in the stall, came out and went, I can't, somebody may have not liked it, but I think it would have been okay.
Yeah, because and that's stuff we have to think about,
oh,
right?
Yes. Like that's a big stumbling block, really.
Let's take a moment and go, oh, okay. Well, the women's stalls have
they're
covered. There's nothing wrong with that. And you know, taking him in there, it's nobody says anything really. And they understand, like you said, they understand a little more these days.
I think so, definitely these days. I think they would, if they could definitely see that you were bringing him in for that reason. And most of the women are just washing their hands and getting ready to, it wouldn't have been, but that was we didn't go a lot of places just for that.
So it sounds like a little pre-planning and a little talking about things makes things
Would have
easier.
been better.
But
Yes.
when you're in that situation by yourself with him, it's
Hard
to think
to,
about all
that's
stuff.
true. That's true.
Well, let's talk about even in the middle of all this crazy and chaos, were there still meaningful or joyful moments for you with him?
Oh, there were a lot. I think that's what keeps you going.
Yeah.
And so there were, and I think having the caregivers come in, well, Colleen came in and showing me that you could look at things in a different way. It's not a disaster, that you can't do this one thing, or that he can't, just try it another way or something like that. Give him a chance.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll do something different. I just think as the spouse, and back then, all of the Alzheimer's diagnosis, you just think that's it. In a week, it's all going to be, and I even remember thinking, well, there's no sense in really staying in contact with all our friends, because pretty soon he won't be able to communicate a whole lot. That was all the wrong. And Jim loved to go. He wasn't a big social, but he did enjoy going out with another couple.
He was a bit of an introvert, but
yes,
he liked that
couple thing. Yes, right. And
that was one of my favorite things with
yes.
him. So Ron and I would come over and have dinner with you guys, and Jim loved those small couples moments.
Because I think then he also could keep up with the conversation. If you've got 6 people all talking, and he was never a big talker. So I think my friends in that didn't notice it as much. I noticed that he was even more quiet, but I think for a while when we went out with our friends, I don't think they noticed that it was as far along as it was.
But we still worked on making those moments special for
him. Yes. So
talk to me a little bit about when you had to start doing more personal care with him. I will start with this. I have the privilege of coming into someone's life and seeing them at this point and concentrate on what they still have left, right? I don't really get to see what they lost. And a lot of families are concentrating on what they lost. So we kind of talked a little bit about that. And tell me a little bit about those moments where personal care became less of a chore, and you would say more of a sweet moment.
Right. Yeah. I never really minded any of the personal care. Although I do remember we had not met you very long, and he had a problem. He didn't find the bathroom in time, and it was kind of all over the rug. So I called you because I knew you had a rug cleaner, if I could come and borrow it. And of course you came over and cleaned the rug for me. But I loved taking care of him. I never ever minded. It never got too hard. I always felt so bad for what he was kind of losing, but I didn't find it to be a big chore. I think I felt more for what he was missing out on. And as our kids were getting, older and things like that, and he loved our family so much that I felt bad for him.
Yeah. So you saw, this isn't his fault. It's
right.
Actually, the brain is failing.
Exactly.
I mean, it's failing, and he's not doing anything on purpose. And his behaviors that he would have was communication to him.
Right.
He didn't have words. He had his behavior.
Exactly.
Nice. So you and Jim love to dance. Is that correct? And what did you guys dance mostly?
Well, we jitterbug and slow dance.
Jitterbug and slow dance.
Yes.
And Jim was
he liked to dance. Yeah, he was good, and he was good. Yes, much better than me.
So once he got that diagnosis, did you think you guys would dance again?
That was probably the end. I thought he's not going to know. But we did go one more time, I think, maybe even to Moonlight, when he was starting to have some trouble. But he still, the minute they started playing jitterbug music, he knew the steps and he could keep it up.
Yeah. That's rhythm, right?
Right. Yes.
So I remember one time at your house, I always had a playlist, Jim's playlist of the music he liked, right?
Right.
And so, of course, Glenn Miller Band came on.
Oh, that was one we loved. Yes.
And what did we do there? I got him up.
and got me to come and dance, and he did.
He did.
He
I
did.
mean,
We,
he
yes,
was
yes, he
through
was
his
pretty good. Yeah,
diagnosis.
yeah, yeah. He didn't remember exactly, when to move his feet, but he still was doing. I thought he did good.
He started
Yes.
that rhythm, right?
Yeah,
You were
yeah.
very good with him. He started it slow, and then you got into the rhythm, and then he kind of picked it up.
Right.
Because a lot of what happens with people is it's not so much they can't do a task, they can't initiate or sequence through it. So we would do a lot of getting him started. Yeah.
Yes.
So that was one of my favorite memories. I actually have a picture of that of you guys dancing.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the wonderful part about having someone like you or a caregiver come in my particular case, I thought all of that was gone. I would have never thought, oh, I wonder if he could even dance, or if and you all had a whole different view that he was still a person and there was a lot of things he still could do. I was always dumbfounded because you would suggest, I'll say, well, he'll never do that. And Bernie would always do it. So I think we just don't know. And I think the spouse is overcome with it.
Yeah. Well, because you're trying to take care of
the big picture.
You do 100% of what you're supposed to do, and he's doing 100%, and now he can't do that anymore. So now you're doing 200%. And so it's hard to find those sweet moments, those moments of joy.
And I think too, or I feel like I did, because he lost a few things. I jumped the gun and thought, well, I bet he can't do such and such anymore. I bet he can't. And he really still could. There were still a lot of things he could do.
Yeah. So never count him out. Huh?
Exactly. Yeah. Don't jump the gun and think they're.
Yeah. We always try.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. We're gonna. So let's talk a little bit about when he was further along in his disease, nearing pretty much the end, what I would call a ruby state from my positive approach to care certifications. And he had to move into a long-term care facility.
Right.
And once he was in there, he was pretty much wheelchair bound.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
There were a few people that could get him up. Sometimes he needed a patient lift.
Right.
But most of the time I could get him up walking.
Yes. Yes.
Now, when he was in that long-term care facility, did you ever think you would be able to hug him or anything like that?
No, that was probably part of the worst part, because the most I could do would be I could get by the side of his bed and hold his hand all the time. But it is very restrictive, or you miss out on all of that you don't realize that until they go in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a day where Jim was having a good day. And so I got him up and I got him to stand up. And I said, Arlene, come here. Right?
All right. I remember.
And then I said, stand right in front of him. And I said, put your arms around him. And did he put his arms around you right away?
No, I think you had to.
Yeah, so I got to put his arms around you because, again, he couldn't initiate
it. Right.
Then what happened?
Well, then he really hugged me and knew what it was. I could tell that he had missed it and I had missed it. Yes, yes. And it was wonderful because that's just different than just holding their hand all the time.
It is.
Yes, yes, yeah.
And we all need that physical
contact.
And I think sometimes we forget that they need
definitely that they need it. Exactly. Mm-hmm. I agree, because I really probably would have never tried to do that on my own. And it really does take somebody else maybe kind of there to help.
Yeah.
But no, it was wonderful. Yeah. And for him too. I think
our point with that is, gosh, if there's something you're missing, he's probably missing it
too. Well, that could be.
So let's try things.
Yes,
ask your care partners that are out there. Ask the people, your caregivers, and say, hey, I really want to hug him, or I really want to do this. Would you help me facilitate that?
Exactly.
And they definitely will.
Yes, yes.
We're going to talk about another like when about me and before I worked with you and we worked together. And we learned a lot from each other.
Yes.
We learned, all three of us. We were like this triangle.
Right.
I learned from you guys, you'd learn from me, we learned from Jim. It was a great opportunity. It was a great opportunity. And you said something to me at near the end about getting more time with them. Can you tell them a little bit about that?
Well, I can't. I really feel that I got almost easily 5 more years, because from the time that we met you, and some of it would have been me, because I would have thought, well, he can't do this anymore, or he can't do that. We would have quit going places. I would have quit trying to do different things. And I do believe that you stalled it off, or however, you kept him active and involved in things for easily 5 more years than we would have had. And then
No, I didn't prolong his
life, but our
made them
interaction,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
our interaction with you, and just the fact that you thought of so many places, oh, we ought to go. Oh, I'd say, well, no, you won't be able to do that. And then sure enough, we would go. And it always worked out. And then that was more time that he and I enjoyed it. We would be together, and he enjoyed all of the different things that you would come up with. So it was wonderful. When I think back on it, had I not gotten a caregiver, he would have just been in that house with me. I think he would have died. I don't know how many years sooner, because I would have kept saying,
or at least not been mobile, right?
no, yes.
The dash. Have you ever heard of the dash?
No.
So we are faith-based, right?
Right.
So we are born on a certain date. God knows that date.
Mhm.
And we will die on a certain date, and
Right.
God knows that date. So what we are responsible for is the dash in between.
In between.
Right?
Okay.
So
Yes.
if we don't eat right and we don't exercise, that dash is going to be a little hard.
Yes.
So what we do as caregivers is not that I make people live longer. No caregiver makes them live longer. But God very quickly corrected me and said, no, you don't have that power. But what you are responsible for is making each day the best it can be for him.
Making their quality of life was so much better. Yes, yes. Had I not met you or someone, because I do think, well, and this was years ago, but as the wife or the person, you're so overwhelmed with what they can't do, and you see so many more different things, little things in the house, and that they can't do. You transfer it thinking, well, no, they would never be able to do that, or I better not try to do that. And there was everything you did, I would say, I don't think you took him to a ball game. Well, I said he won't sit through that. So
I won't mention when I took him on the ferry.
No, well, that I would have to say I was not thrilled about, because she didn't have a good answer on what would have happened if the ferry went down.
Now, who do you think I would have saved first?
Well, you said you would have took
Jim.
Jim, probably. But anyway, it changes your whole life. Your whole life then is wrapped around them.
Yeah.
And what you can do to.
And what did you find having more time to yourself?
Well,
did you come back? How did you come back when you had time to yourself?
I think just having more time to yourself, you were starting to feel like you could keep on doing this, because at the beginning, or when you got in the middle, you thought, what if he lives like another 2 or 3 years, which you wanted him to, but you didn't know whether you could do that day in and day out for the next couple of years. And you did start to lose. My 2 best friends, of course, they stayed very close, but you do lose touch with all of the other ones that, because you just don't.
Right. And it's not their
right. No,
fault,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So we also try to teach families and friends. Don't stop visiting. Here's what you can expect Jim will do. Here's some things you can talk to him about. Don't be surprised if he gets up. Don't be surprised if he's not engaging. He's still listening.
Yeah. And he always loved company.
Yeah.
So I think he really enjoyed when people came. And he never was a big talker, so I don't think he missed out on talking.
But he enjoyed being there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he would always come in the door. Greetings and salutations.
I don't worry about that.
I love that though. That was his.
I think that probably broke the ice for him.
Right. I love that. Okay, we're gonna stop right here. Okay. We're gonna do
so you can just stop this when we're going. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna say, for someone just starting this journey, what would you want them to know? So take some time and tell me when you're ready. I think I did. just goes dark.
Oh,
It's the lighting.
it's,
And you're scooting over again.
what did you say?
Oh, sorry.
What's the question?
For someone just starting this journey, what would you want them to know?
Should I start? Yeah.
Well, no, I'm going to ask you that
Yeah,
question.
okay.
Is build your team early in there?
Mhm.
Okay, and then
Right,
you can
yes.
think there you are. Okay.
Okay.
So as we round up this interview, and I really appreciate you taking this time because this is going to do a lot for caregivers out there.
Anyway, yeah.
Because it feels like a lonely journey in isolation, but there's a lot of
Doesn't
help
have
out
to
there.
be.
Yeah,
Right,
you're
right.
right. So for someone just starting this journey, what would you want them to know?
Well, I would say get help, maybe even before you think you know it,
Mhm.
even when you're still kind of doing, and it doesn't have to be a lot of help all of the
Yeah.
time. But I think if you get someone that has been dealing with other people, they can give you some hints on maybe what you could help with your partner, or things like me that I said, wait, we can't go there.
Yeah.
They would say, well, sure you can. We'll just do this or do that. So I would say start sooner rather than later.
Wow.
Because you're just putting it off, and they can come up. I mean, I know I've told you this before. I think you gave me a whole nother year with Jim of enjoying things and
Yeah.
doing things. I would have still been at home saying, oh, we can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I say the sooner the better.
Oh, thank you. And is there anything you wish you had understood a little bit earlier about the disease?
Well, I guess I just really wish I would have known a lot more about it, because it really, he could do so many more things than I realized. And I think that just us, the regular common people back then, Alzheimer's was it.
Yeah.
You just didn't hear, I didn't know anybody that had a partner and went through it and said, oh no, you could still do this, you could still do that. And so I think, had we not gotten involved with your organization, I would have been one of them saying, oh no, because that's what I said to you most of the time. And you said, oh good, I'm going to take him anyway. So no, I think we don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And also, this is awful to say, but you do worry about out in public. And no, I've never had anybody and the other thing, which I said, the bathroom was a big thing.
Yeah.
But definitely start, even if it's just a few days. I think you can see what a caregiver can help, how it can. Yeah.
And did you think dementia was just memory care? Memory care. Did you think dementia was just memory loss, or did you find out it was a little bit more?
It was a lot more than that. Yes,
lot
yes,
more than
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So
yeah.
not just memory.
Memory,
A
no.
lot of cognitive issues. Right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes, yes.
And what would you say about accepting help to those people out there that are like on the fence?
Well, I would say get it as soon as you think that you need it, as soon as you feel, I think when you can feel that you're not only developing or using most of your time for him or the person, but you're thinking about it all of the time, even if they're taking a nap or that, oh, what's he going to do when he gets up? Did I get done what I have to get done? Because kind of like having a little baby before they wake up for their nap. I think just knowing, oh, Tuesday, somebody's coming in for a little bit, even if you're not going out, you might be able to go do something you've wanted to do in the house, which sounds ridiculous, but that just makes you feel better. The caretaker can do something, maybe take him out, and you'd have the whole day to do. So I definitely would say, as soon as you can, and it's reasonable, and you wouldn't have to maybe get them full time right at the beginning, but yeah, definitely.
Well, Arlene, thank you so much for taking this time.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
I really appreciate you being so open to express this, because it's not an easy journey.
No, it's hard.
It is a hard journey, but there is help. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. And it can mean everything. It's really even help if you could just get out for 2 hours by yourself, completely rejuvenate you for the rest of the time.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. And thank you, Marlene. And we hope you guys have a great day.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.